Hey everyone, and welcome to another Siege and Sandfox live stream. I'm the regular host, Chris Wilson, designer on the project, and once again, I have my friend and producer, Aidan Howe, joining me. Hopefully, hello.
Hello.
There he is. There he is. Everything is fine. Okay, so just to catch everyone up, what we're doing here is we are working towards a playtest build. We want to see what makes sense about our controller and what doesn't. Because we've sort of gathered some data almost accidentally over the past, and now we want to do it properly. So we've got this route that we've been working on. Last week was the first week we sort of went through and reviewed it. Now we're back. So I will just start playing through it again. And maybe you can remind me how we left it before we get to any of the interesting bits, because the first bit hasn't really changed that much. Or at all.
Yeah.
Need to.
I was going to say, is there anything much to review on the early route that's
Not really.
changed from last time?
I don't think so.
Well,
I swear it looks different, but so this is obviously just this is our basic jumps, and they still behave, thankfully. But I'm sure, or maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention before. Like, I'm sure, is it stuff for normals or something? I don't know. It just looks nicer, or maybe Keith's been playing with some of the post-process stuff, or maybe I'm just blind. All of these things are possible. So I see that Ed has snuck in some point of interest markers here, which is cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So, so for those of you who didn't catch it last time, rather than the camera, we do allow the player to control the camera with a stick like this, but also we're experimenting getting in some what we're calling point of interest that just navigate the camera, sort of just nudge it towards what we think is the most relevant. And there's some debug for that, just to give you some idea of what's going on. So we've got these big circles here, and we've also got, if you see, there's that, what color is that? The circle that's on the player, that's not the green one.
The yellow one.
Is it yellow? I guess
it looks yellow to me, but I'm in Hangout Vision. So.
I know. Yellow. We'll go with yellow. That is the aggregate of all these different camera things that are trying to pull it one way or the other. So you can see it's kind of quite subtle. So we want to pull you up to start looking towards this thing up here. At the moment, it's got a few sort of, it's jumping occasionally because there's some bugs to fix with that. But anyway, I thought I'd just mention that. There's a few more of those around. And I'm happy for Ed to mess around with them, to be honest. I'll do like a full pass, but it's a good time for just people to see if they do what they're expecting or not. I think Ed might also have fixed a few of the tutorial things as well, but they certainly seem a bit less broken. Oh, this has changed as well, hasn't it? This looks much more exciting. Are you still there?
I am.
There you go. Sorry.
It's on my Windows.
No, it's fine. I'm voicing it.
It has.
Cool. Well, we won't say too much about that now, but that's cool. It looks nice. So yeah, this is still all the same. Again, like, I presume all the normal map stuff was here before, but maybe I just wasn't looking at it. I was too focused on the white box.
Yeah, I think those. I'm almost certain those were actually, because I noticed them myself on reviewing the video later. So.
Well, they're delicious. So still, to point out, there's lots of issues with the player control at the moment. We know about that. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes, but that's kind of all going to come in one go, so there's not much to discuss there at the moment. This still works really well. I probably don't want to do that anymore. I think it will happen naturally at the right time, as in like directing people to actually look around. I think there's probably nothing for them to actually look at here. The camera isn't already being pulled towards.
Well, here's the question. It's always been a tricky one to tutorialize because we can't force the player to need to do it. In contrast to everything else. So maybe we have to tell them that they can, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll think about it. The problem with that one is and at least it was my experience of when I saw people playing our older demo, is that like they do it and they're like, yeah, but what am I looking at? And it's like, oh, stuff.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be something specific for them to look at. Yeah.
Works. Well, we didn't have the POIs either, and they do a lot of the what that's supposed to solve is, hey, you can look around and you can see things, whereas now when we're going, yeah, but you can look at these specific things, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need a bit of tuning, but I think also like I think maybe we can orchestrate a situation where there's like an enemy or something moving that they can look at. You know, something that they actually want to purposely keep looking at. But it's minor. I just noticed that I'm like between the point of interest and some of the other stuff. It's like, okay, we don't actually need to, you know, we actually need to say, hey, you can look around here at that specific point. Okay, this is still all fine. Still makes me sad, but I don't think there's anything we can do about it. You know, that I know not everyone does this, but I always do. So you end up with this awkward, like, sort of just sliding against the wall. But I feel like that's a much further down the line, like player controller fix. And so this is gone now. The used to be great there, so I'm fine with this. This is fine. I'm still kind of making up my mind about this switch if we want to change it to the other one, but it's not upsetting me at the moment, really.
Because the main problem with using those switches, when you mean change it to the other one, you mean change it to a throw switch. Yeah, I mean, the point of that setup was to force you to do that and to close up those grates to stop you from falling into them when you do the thing at the top, as we know. That's kind of the appropriate switch there is the problem, but we're not using them so much anymore through the tutorial. So it's kind of this single instance of a type of switch.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like
everywhere after this.
In a good way, we can save them for later. You know what I mean? Like one of the other areas we talked about where they fit a bit better. I mean, it's in the back of my head because it's not a blocker for any of this playtest build and stuff, but I think about, again, like, if we can maybe somehow just move these around, because, again, they have this slight issue of, like, the problem they solve is a problem you don't even know you have until, like, you go, oh, those closed for some reason. And then if you fall down here, you're like, oh, that's good. And I wonder if we could make...
don't really mind that. I mean, we could just change the whole layout of this place. That's the other way to assault this. Do we want to do that here?
I think it's nearly fine though. I'm just thinking like how I can make this more necessary. But again, it's not too upsetting.
Well, I mean, we're into nuance there.
Yes,
then, really,
yeah, exactly,
we?
exactly. So,
do you want me to record that?
No, that's all right. I got that. As in, like,
yeah. I mean, are we? Well, I probably should record it anyway. Are we doing? Are we going to set that as a thing to fix for next week or review?
No. I've got my own list of stuff for that. But I mean, if you want to write it down, because I agree, it's like total nuance. It's just I'm always reminded of it.
Well, then we'll just remember it for when we do a more focused pass the detail. Then,
on that note, Ed had a look at these where they're all upside down, and it just seems that I made a thing. I don't remember making it, but I made a thing to flip them round, like a little checkbox to flip them in X, but it seems to have changed to Y, so or something else, and now they're all upside down, which is awesome. But that's much less worrying than I thought. Like it could have been.
Yeah, we know what it is now.
Yeah. So this is still fine. It's behaving slightly, but yeah, player controller shit. This is fine. Like when we can do a bit more with this, I think the thing to do is like is you can turn this torch off and you can leave this one on, so when you're here, like, this looks more interesting, and then this dude can be like, I know, stood probably about here-ish, and then he lights this one, so you'll see him, and then he's coming over this way, so you've got like the biggest amount of time you're ever going to get ever to notice him and pop in there. But that's getting there. This always strikes me as this is so strange. Like, I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like it should work, but it does. And I don't know why it feels weird. Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna fucking.
Well, it.
Oops, can you? Didn't work.
I would say that if we maybe just lower that platform by 1, so that you can at least get into a tuck hang on it, and then reach. No, the one to the right.
Yeah.
So if you want that to read better, I think you just lower that thing by 1 so that you can hang it. I mean, can you hang it anyway? Shouldn't you? Because that's 5, right? Yeah, that's 5. So you should just be able to keep jumping and... No. I guess it's wall run that takes you up to... No, you went high at that time.
It's all a bit dodgy, all this stuff, but it's not... It doesn't feel great.
Anyway, that should probably be jump hangable. I think it's because you're standing on a slope up to it. I think if you were on something flat, then you would probably make that to hang that, and it would feel a bit firmer. It would give you 2 options for landing it. But hey, just lower it by 1, and then you're certainly going to grab it, and you can push left, and you can kick off onto that from a stable start rather than having to do it in the wall slide state.
Yeah.
So this is the hide spot room. Lower mantle on left. That's an easy one for next week.
Cool. And speaking of awkward, so I can't remember how I left this, but so this works now, as in rather you can't get up this side, which is fine. From here at least. This, like, I think I seem to remember I said to Ed, like, let's just see how this feels, but it's just super awkward, and like, admittedly there's some issues with the player controller that don't help, but it feels weird. It feels super weird.
Do we
It just needs a bit more space to breathe, but obviously there is no space, so I'm not quite sure, but it needs another looking at. I think it doesn't quite work.
Sure.
I'm not sure what
Okay, so still in the hide spot room then. We want to change how the player gets into the rafters.
Yeah, it just needs to be simpler.
It doesn't feel clean to get in. I did a pass on the checkpoints rather than just delete that one and kind of move them to places where I thought led the player a little bit better. Obviously, that one is in some nobbled brickwork, which I didn't notice when I placed it. But yeah, we may want to do that generally, but they're fine up to as far as we've got tile maps anyway. But
yeah, I mean, so the thing is with this is originally I wanted this like you can't get here at all, or at least a way that you couldn't get there now. And at the moment, obviously, you can. So
okay.
Oh no.
So So do you want that blocked up? Do we just block that up?
Yeah. I mean, because my suggestion was that we put in that thing that doesn't exist yet. Well, later on, but for now, yeah, I think it should just be permanently.
Of course, because you want people coming up the right side. Well, I'll have to move that checkpoint.
Yeah, it's cool.
I forgot about that. So move checkpoint. And we need to... Do we just seal up the thing in the rafters? Or do you want to...
I think for now we just seal it. I think it's something we can decide later how we can, like, have it as something you reopen when you return, later in the game. But for now, I think it's fine. We just make it as something that's inaccessible.
All right. Quick changes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is working out how we get up there in a way that doesn't feel bad, but possibly it's filling in that middle, putting a column in the middle there, so there's a nice solid wall to pop off.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you see where I put the checkpoint, then there's that middle platform. If that becomes a more solid wall,
yeah, that could work.
If a tile gets shaved off it, maybe. At least then you can jump onto something more stable. I don't know.
Yeah, because then it feels like, you see, if this was locked up with something that, this feels like a tiny classic sort of, secret sweetie or something, like, you come back here later and you can unlock this, or it's something different, like a tiny little thing, because it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yes.
Which is fine. We need some of those. And to be honest, actually, that's the first one.
It's a very simple loop back. Yeah.
Anyway, so this is fine, and it's not done yet. And again, like, I feel like when the the player controls are a little bit more stable, so I can sort of finesse some of these things, I think this will work, because it makes you go this way. And I know it still has that float thing, but it's no worse than some of the other ones we've got. And then, so you'll be facing this way, and then we can just nudge it that way a little bit, and that's all we can do really to hope people go, oh, that's interesting.
Do we not do it to the switch rather than the door? Because the door's always going to be in the frame.
A bit of both. I mean, I just mean at the moment.
Okay,
I'll check. It's kind of dead center. Yeah, it's just.
Right. Yeah.
Just coming up a bit. Of course, depending on how things that Keith is working on behave, it depends how this will look.
So I presume that's why the dude isn't down there anymore, as you just don't want them to be.
Yeah, I just forgot about him. But I haven't put him in yet. Well, actually, I'll put another dude in later. I'll show you. I haven't done it yet, but I will. But yes, that's why there is not one here. So this can stay the same.
Yep.
I mean, this, to be honest, is kind of cool. Like, because if we again, like, this is a finesse thing, but just mentioning it for people's benefit. Like, if we make something cool here that's quite distinctive, people are be able to see that, oh, okay, this is where I am now. Like, I got to that bit that I couldn't get to. It's always fun. Ed says he has one currently framing that switch. Yeah, I did sort of spot it. God, Ed has been busy. And just to let everyone know, this is totally not the intended way for these to work. We do have some sorting issues related to player controller stuff. Don't even notice it anymore, which is bad.
Right. Yeah. So it seems like there's a revision of this in the offing, because it looks to me like the deletion of the fat dude up here says some specific things about what you might want in here. So do you want the lift to come all the way down?
It could. I mean, we can talk about that when we get there. But
the only reason it wasn't was because of the fat dude. So
right.
If you've gone, just say no. I can't continue down
to
that
have
path.
him there, yeah, I feel it's just, even though obviously when you know what you're doing, it's not a massive time pressure. I think having any time pressure at this stage, and yes, also that's how I felt that, like, yeah, it could come down here and it look cool. But anyway,
fine.
We'll get to that.
Simplifies that. We can brick up that ugly view to the back, and it can nestle into these sockets here. And I suppose that means we can just sort of brick those up into little wells that hold the lift for now. So they're still nice, easy things to get across. There'll be annoying one-tile lips, but
yeah, I think we can make that work. And I think it can be a cool, thing that you pass by and you're like, this looks interesting, but I don't know quite what it is. I mean, obviously, you know it's a lift, but you don't know quite how it operates. And then, yeah, when we, as we'll show a little bit later, when you get up there, you have that cool connecting feeling. I haven't hooked this up yet because I'm a bad person, so pretend I flick that, and this is now open. You saw nothing. So I realized that actually you can just do this again here, and we could probably flavor it a little bit more, but you can totally just have a guy that does basically the same thing.
Do we want all switches and stuff to be hooked up this week?
Why not? I mean, I wasn't sure if they worked at all, and evidently someone's hooked up. Presumably Ed hooked up that earlier one, so I'm wrong. So why not?
Okay, fine. Which is hooked up.
Yeah.
Get this playable. Continue.
So yeah, you can have the same dude appears from the right, comes over to the left thing here. We can, change it up a little bit, but there's
I was gonna say, yeah, it would be nice, seeing as how there's no challenge in that other room now, because we're a bit thin on gang guards here.
Yes, that's the idea. And again, you have this situation where you come from a position of relative safety, because if we have the camera being pulled over, like you're going up these stairs.
Scripty, gang guard, hide spot in second column room.
Yeah, Ed's saying, the switches do work. You just have to do the fun like jump shuffle thing, which I'm so used to doing. That's how bad it gets. I'll just show people that because it's pretty funny. It's just become a reflex for me now. Because the use gets queued, doesn't it? But you get stuck, so you press use, and then you get stuck. And then if you jump, it goes, I want to jump, and now I'm going to press a switch. That's completely normal. I don't know what you guys are talking about. All games work.
Complete the switch ritual.
Yes. So yeah, this feels like, again, it's one of those situations where I spent some time thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm just overthinking this. It's totally fine to have another guy that does basically the same thing. And again, you've got the opportunity with the torches to... actually that one should stay lit because you want to see this way, but there's an opportunity for them to be lighting or carrying one or doing something that justifies them moving slowly to start with. And also, if he goes off this way, then when you're going this way, he's moving further and further away from you, which is ideal to start with. So this is here just to show people. So as we said before, we started to sort of just push on trying to work out our we don't want to call them quests, they are, but sort of light quest. We'll use that word. We'll find something better. But anyway, we're trying to work out the flow for that, and it's one of these situations where none of us come from a UI or UX background, I believe. So rather than spending ages planning it, it's one of the few areas where I'm just like, you know what? Let's just try things. So one of the things that Joe Wintergreen has been working on is, hopefully, there we go, So, oh wow, look, test quest. That sounds really exciting.
I'd love to test that quest.
Yes. So, just a few things to point out. Firstly, this awesome Half-Life 2-esque orange thing is obviously placeholder, but that's where you are approximately, and that's obviously something we've defined and an object we've defined. This map is not like the final map, but it's a thing that Ed's been doing that's more representative than what we had last week, which was a map that was auto-generated by Joe, just a screenshot. So, hey, it feels slightly more real. It goes, hey, do this thing for me. It's over here. And then you can close this thing. And then I do the jump ritual, of course, to use the person, just like real life. And
You're going to impress them first, Chris, before they'll,
yes.
before they'll talk to you.
And then it's permanently on this same map thing here. So that's cool. It's like, it's not, obviously it's not done, but this feels a bit more like a thing, and we can start saying how we feel about it. I don't honestly at this moment have too much to say about it, other than, okay, well, it kind of does a thing now, and we need to get Ed to, try out the thing we wanted to try with the quests and having this map revealed in a certain manner, but yeah, it feels a bit more like a thing, so that's cool.
It's looking good.
Yeah, it's coming on.
So what do we expect to see for that next week? New markers, I assume.
Yeah, I think actually Ed has done some of the others, but he's not quite sure how it hooks up. So he's left Joe a message. Who has the who lives on the other side of the planet. Why would he do that? So we should find out about that tomorrow. He fixed the bug where you get stuck there forever, which was not helpful. And then I think we should have another chat, because obviously we've got those. I don't have to hand those images of what we thought we might try for revealed states of the map and what someone telling you about a quest actually looks like. So obviously we have the ability to do that now. That icon could be literally anything, including the sort of drawn things. So we'd probably just give that a whirl. And I guess it's the revealing as well, right? Is that probably the main thing that's not there at all? As in, like, in terms of just raw functionality, like some level of being revealed. It has most of the other stuff.
Yep.
Oh, can you do this? Let me check. You can. Oh, look at that. You can place your own ones. Over here a little bit. Yeah. Also, lovely coloured icons. Again, open to discussion. We can pick it up with the rest of the guys, but this was just a thing. I was like, I kind of like the way in Axiom Verge. I think it's probably borrowed from another game. You can only place 2 markers, and you can only place them where you are. So rather than being like, being able to cover a map with stickers like Zelda or something, you can just say, these 2 things look kind of interesting, and I might want to come back to them. And hopefully, can you reset it? You can. So can you get rid of them? Yeah. So hey, we'll see what the other guys think. It was quick for Joe to implement, and I kind of like it. Because, as I said,
I think that's the most natural use, particularly in the kind of game that we are, where you're going to be in an environment and you're going to see, some kind of naughty switch that you can see it as a switch, it's switchable, but you can't get there, and so you drop something.
So that's how I found it.
Come back later.
But what's interesting is, this is why this is good, and of course, actually, the entire reason behind all this playtesting, particularly those features, is when I explained this to Joe, I gave what I thought was a reasonably complete explanation, and he totally didn't get it. And then I explained what it actually was, and he's like, "That sounds crazy. I've never heard of anything like that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, but yes, I feel that it fits well for us, because rather than, again, I know it's my go-to example at the moment, like Zelda, like you can cover that map in stickers. I just don't want people to be able to do that. I don't think it's helpful. For our kind of game. I think our game is, it's literally a Metroidvania thing, so I think you'll encounter things where, as you say, you're like, I don't know what this does, but I feel that it is important.
It's one of those choices, Chris, where you're just choosing who's going to hate you, I think.
Yeah.
Because there'll be people who want to paper their map with stickers, but...
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
it seems like the right thing to go. Seems like our path is good. But anyway, we'll iterate over it and see where it gets to.
Yeah.
So new map markers. Map should just look a bit prettier next time, because we won't be using placeholder markers.
Yeah, so Ed says...
placeholder markers.
Nice.
How about that? That's what they are, Chris.
They are. So Ed says the quest marker, which we're trying to make it like a drawing of an area, and the player marker are assets that exist. They're just not used because you only need to have a little chat with Joe about where they exist. So that's cool.
Fine.
So yeah, that, and I guess the only other I said the question mark is like the revealing how we want to do that. Because I don't know. We talked about it before, didn't we? But I honestly can't remember where we left it. But this is already starting to feel like a thing, and yeah, no, it's cool. I know Ed will be like, "Oh, it's like 1% of what I want to make," but it feels so much more.
It's a pretty cool 1%.
Yes. Okay, so this for everyone's benefit, certainly not me because I've forgotten. Remind me what the deal is here. What will be the deal in here?
I've got Keith's SketchUp of how art have interpreted.
If you want to
smashy time, I will send it to you.
Do it on the Slackening, and I will ambigonate it.
Proceed with sharing. Is it going to do that thing where it's like, no, you can only share it with it? Nope. I can share it with anyone. Great.
Fuckers.
So that's what it was yesterday. And we had a little chat.
This is where Ed and Keith are like, "You've got way too many tabs." I'm like, "Deal with it."
You do have way too many tabs.
Deal with it.
So highlight, first of all, is check out the Fisticuffs men in the bottom left corner.
This is amazing.
It's premium stick figure emotive. You know exactly what those stick figures are doing. Bit of Queensby rules.
You do.
So you can see the flow, right? You pop up from the bottom. You've got a vase that's like saying to you, "Smash me now," because the switch is a pain to get to. If you're really insistent on doing that switch, you're going to summon that sand zombie into that room, but you've still got a reasonable chance of being somewhere safe that you can get back and smash the vase. There's some allusion to crawling through some water underneath, which would be nice to have, but we're probably not going to have water, so that's not going to be a water channel. You get over to the right, you do a jump, pop up onto that ladder, maybe a bit lower to make it easier. Oh, another thing I said as well on this one in the review of this was shorten the ladder on the left so that you have to jump it, just so that's preluded a little bit before we make them jump off a wall and do it. And then which way are you going? You go either.
Up here.
This is an interesting thing because I don't know how you feel about this. So when you get onto the second floor, you're underneath the existing sand monster challenge, which stays there.
Sorry, we're on this floor, you're saying?
I'm looking at my pointy stick and not looking at your pointy stick.
Oh,
no. Do your pointy stick.
Yeah.
I can't see it on screen share.
Yes, thanks Google. When you climbed the first ladder post switch, so you climbed over the water, jumped up the ladder, then the floor that puts you on, is that what we're calling the second floor? I don't see why you wouldn't, but hey, okay, so I'm there. Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry.
So it turns out you can actually just guide and jump up either side of these.
Right.
You may want to change that to deny it on the right hand side, so we force them to deal with this thing somehow. Because if you go up the left, you have to hang. Because Keith was kind of unhappy that he might have ruined this. But I was like, no, don't worry about it. You just hang, and he walks past you, and it's cool. So it's a hang pass on this. So you do the hang pass, you jump over, you climb that last ladder, and then you're up for some shimmying action.
Right.
At the top there. But that's where it gets to Here Be Dragons, and it starts socketing into the other stuff, and we need to work out how those two blends happen.
A small bubble of illusion of choice, I said. Yeah. I think
version 2.
We can probably make that work.
I'll show you what it became, because we should probably, if we're going to talk about anything, then we should talk about the current one. Chris, share. So here's V2.
My mouse. Hang on. There we go.
This was today's version.
You improved. Okay.
Yep.
Comes with bonus Windows 7 taskbar. Winamp. God, how old are these guys? 100?
They're really whipping that llama's ass, Chris.
Sorry, yes, continue.
It's pretty much the same setup, just a bit neater in this repeated grid geometry. The influence for this was Level from Mirror's Edge, that was a water processy kind of place.
I remember it.
That you spiraled around these things, which obviously we can't do spirals because we don't have that extra dimension required to spiral. But we can snakey around things, which is the 2D equivalent. So we're doing that. And that was the influence for it. I think it's come out pretty well. I think it'll build up into something that looks like it belongs here, effectively. So
I can see how this works.
Yeah, the only thing that I think is up for grabs is where we place that urn and
Mhm.
how easy it is to see zombie chuckles underneath when you smash it. But if we do get all of the stuff we want with POI behaviors on vase smashing and proximity and stuff, then that may not be too much of an issue. But yeah, this is going to get tile mapped up. So
Yeah.
speak now on things you want doing to it.
No, that seems fair. I mean, as you said, yeah, I think it's more like the literal placement of these the switches and the pots, the urns rather, and stuff like that. But the actual layout makes sense to me. So that's cool. I love these fisticuffs; they're so good.
Yep.
Okay, let's do this back over here. But so that reminds me, the main thing to me is okay. We need to have a chat then with Art about the whole sand monster blink thing, like making it about 1,000,000 times more obvious via POIs, via effects.
All right. Yep. I don't know whether that's a this week kind of thing though.
Okay.
Is it a this week kind of thing? Ed's on icons, but it's probably Keith we want for this.
Mm-hmm.
For the particle effect side anyway, and I think the animations of smashing are fine anyway, so I don't think they need any work.
I noticed this before, but I can't remember where we left it. Do we have any other Ed time? I would like to see what he thinks about the whole thing, as in, the literal smash pot thing moves along, guy dies, that as a whole animation thing, how he feels about it in terms of timing, because I feel like we can be pretty flexible there, actually, as in...
Okay, so yeah, you can have Sega time. You can totally have that. So review, vase, smash, from quite a few angles then, really. Telegraphing.
Yeah, the telegraphing of the link, I feel is
timing as well. Timing.
So yeah, the distinction to me, it feels like the timing of it, that feels like a Sega thing. I'd like to get his opinion because I don't have much of an eye for that stuff. Like, what if I was to say to him, this happens as a static scripted thing, what do you think would happen? Is one question. And the other one is like, yeah, how do we make this alarmingly obvious the two are linked? Because no one outside of us has ever realized that they're linked.
Yes, I was just saying in chat there that I thought he thought they were changing the.
That's definitely one thing.
Particle from vase to monster.
Yeah,
so I'm going to add direction to this list because he's right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to get a little bit of Sega time just to see what he thinks.
Sure. Yeah, well, we can set that up tomorrow, I guess, and see when he's available and get some Sega time.
Because
you can just message him.
I could do that.
He's got time.
Yeah, write it down because I keep forgetting and I keep saying it and keep not doing it. Because I feel like the
Chris Ed
chat. Because I feel like I'm sure we can have it. I said to you before, like with when you actually smash it and the thing flies from the pot to him and he dies. I'm sure we can have it that rather than that being a set speed, that you just say, okay, well, here's the time that this needs to reach here, so it either goes faster or slower. And because we're going to know within a range how far away they are, I don't think it will ever go super fast or super slow.
Yeah.
So I think we can make that.
Yeah. Well, we just got to keep discipline on that. And that's fine because we had those kind of rules anyway, particularly when the camera was pulled in closer. So yeah, all of this is going to change. Probably
Oh no.
Yeah. I have none of it. Yeah. So for next time, this is all probably going to be arted up and done, and we'll be able to review how it feels. But from the SketchUp, I'm pretty confident all of that's going to work. And it'll be minutiae again. It'll be, do we want jumps this length? Do we? Is this jump mantle up thing working? Does it feel good? I think we'll be pretty much straight there. Out here, we're going to have to do some work this week. Maybe sealing things up, making sure you can't get anywhere that you shouldn't.
Yeah, so actually, I thought this was kind of cool. As someone who doesn't know how this actually meant to work, the idea that if you could get up here, but this is very obviously sealed, but I can see again that it looks kind of interesting, but I can't quite interact with it. And I go, okay, well, I can't do that. And then, I take this much more inviting looking hop.
Yeah, if you want to have a view off the pier there, then we can do that. We can work this back towards that.
Because yeah,
It
I like this. I like again, yeah. If I couldn't, for whatever reason, go much further than this, but this obviously looked interesting,
mhm.
then that's nice. You get kind of two bites at it, right? You're down the bottom, and you look at it and you're like, that looks like a thing, and then you're here and you go, that still looks like a thing. I think that would be nice.
Okay, well, I mean, if we're taking the training wheels off in terms of allowing pointless backtracking for someone who is an intrepid explorer and says, you know what, I'm going to drop off that thing because screw you guys. If we're okay with that, that's just something
I
that
mean,
kind of felt like it was
maybe.
forbidden until we got to the Nexus.
Well, yeah, I think it is. I'm just saying, like here, like I mean, literally, this is as far as they could go.
But it's not because they can just jump off.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. If it was as
Oh,
far as they could go.
I don't know I don't know how we do that and not put a wall there, like a big wall, because that's the only thing that stops our player sideways is a big wall.
Yeah, I think we might be able to. We might be able to.
Well, if we've not got full damage, there's just no way. There's just no way because the other thing that stopped the player was a big gap, but we don't have those anymore. So
Yeah, no, but I mean, so this door thing, right? This hole that opens up into the main thing. Well, let me think about it.
I'm feeling a focused review of this entire area coming on, Chris. Don't know how you feel about that.
Nah, I reckon you can do it. But okay, for now we will leave it as is.
Not right now. Focused review. I mean, in our future, do you want to review that area this week?
Yeah, let's take a look.
This coming week, not like tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you can make that work.
Okay. Well, do we want to do either flank of the lift shaft then? Because we've got to do the lift, and if we do the lift, then we've got to know what the lift's going out to, and if we know what it's going out to, then we've got to do these aqueducty things, and if we do that, then we've got to make sure they've got the holes in all of the right places, different area codes. Yes. So
I'll think about it because I think we'll write it down. We'll have a chat about it because I think it'll be cool. I think you can make it work.
Sure.
But anyway, for now, just pretend for whatever reason, this is way more appealing. When we go up here.
So here be dragons up here.
Yeah. So this is still off limits.
This is all old. So we need to know what's happening in here. Now I feel that we could turn up the heat a little bit with encountering sand monsters here and actually have, because I was talking to Keith about this, and this is like a boss room for us. You've just finished the tutorial, you're about to get to the Nexus. This is like our asylum demon, you know? So a room with 3 AI in it feels okay, as long as one of them effectively is not active, not looking for you, not a threat to you. So the setup that Keith and I talked about was a couple of floors with a couple of sand monsters on them, or maybe 2 on one floor, and then over to the left at the door to the midden Nexus, have one that's just banging on the door, just classic zombie wailing on the door. And then everything makes sense for if you go in there and are like, oh, you cleared those things out, great. What the hell are those? It makes it a bit more dramatic. We're doing some animated set pieces anyway, and it's just a nice way to encounter the problem, because they seem a bit aloof to it otherwise, you know? And it means that if you make any noise in the room, we can call that guy away from the door and he becomes a threat because you were an idiot, so we're going to punish you for that. Or otherwise, if you're Captain Stealthy Trousers, which we hope everyone is, they're just going to be avoiding the 2 that are in the mainstay of the room. And we've got tons of room to do this in. So
yeah, no, it sounds interesting. The guy banging on the door is definitely a cool thing. Yeah, we should have a chat about that as well. That's
okay, so review midden Nexus room. So a lot of new design brief needs to be generated this week and done. I don't think those are particularly risky though, as long as we have ideas for them. So good. Yeah, so here we are, midden Nexus. The lifts aren't there. I imagine they're in the foreground.
Wow.
Where's my lift? See if you can stand on them. Can you? Come on, be brave. Be brave.
Oh no, I couldn't stand on them.
Oh, and you died.
Okay.
I thought you couldn't die.
Not okay. I don't think that's been adjusted yet. Also, it
Whoops.
didn't reset me, so
I killed this, Chris.
I'm extra dead.
Or
but now I can look.
alternatively, you can see if
There
my
they
lift.
are,
Yeah, the lifts are there. So I
Okay,
guess
well.
they're just on a stupid depth. They are.
I don't know how that happened. Where do they live? I'll just give them a nudge.
They will be midden gameplay. Like minus 12 or something.
Oh, I see. They're.
Yeah.
Are they just one thing? Can I just?
That's my fault. I did it. I did a stupid. They are just one thing. Yeah. So.
God.
Oh my
God.
Positive 41. Nothing lives there.
How? Yeah, but it's interesting, like, because I said, is it because they've got that collision volume? I wonder, consider it's the same with the switches. A bunch of switches have just popped out and they get cold. Like, where is that other one? This one. This one. Same deal.
I think there's probably me just placing them in a super slapdash fashion to get them in there.
Enough.
Because I do everything in the orthographic camera. So what depth? There is no depth.
There is no depth. Okay, where's this other one? Yes. Oh, that one's fine. Just didn't see it, which is understandable. Okay, let's just do the bad thing.
Do the bad thing. It's allowed.
Play a character. We're going on a trip.
A long trip.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Good old-fashioned ortho camera. Choice of champions.
The best, because it doesn't have any of that distracting lighting nonsense.
Yes, it doesn't. Boop. Not even if you wanted it.
No. Hey, look, a lift. Oh, look, a lift.
It's a bit quick. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's a bit quick.
Hard to tell, but it feels a bit quick.
That's actually, that's an amount of time that I feel, it's quite a dramatic lift.
I know, right? That would be cool.
If only it was linked to the other one and it did the thing that it was supposed to do. We're probably just going to have to do that in Blueprint. I spoke to Rex and he said, yeah, just custom Blueprint stuff. So I imagine I can get the switch, like any of the responders off it and send it to the other lift and go, hey, you care about this, and just cross wire them. And then everything should be fine as long as you can't stand on both of them at once, which you can't.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't mind that as a lift journey. I'd do it again.
It's nice. Yeah, I think we'll get a lot of mileage out of the views, and I said determined to try and get 2 bites out of the cherry.
Well, now you're screwed.
Yeah,
don't get killed again.
Anyway,
so yeah, specifically that place needs to be reworked to be a resplendent lift housing that obviously isn't too resplendent because it's in the midden. So, but lift housing for midden needs to be a thing. And then for the rest of this place, I just think it needs moving around, making it a little bit less complicated in terms of what jumps we're asking people to do. I'd actually quite like this shanty town to move over to the right-hand side, but I think we're straying into art review territory here more than design.
So when is that set? When's that going to be done?
It's more up to you and what you want doing in here in terms of design. So I don't want to swizzle whatever the art around until.
Okay, put that on me with that other big pile from the sounds of it, because I mean this is, thankfully it's a good thing. I basically have nearly 0 design requirements, so that won't take long, but it's still a necessary.
I think it's just the flow of this area is what's difficult at the minute.
And also it's can you note this down that it's something to add to the things from Ben is like this feels like we want a I think we nearly have everything we need here, but to be able to set the camera to zoom in, like for this room only.
Yes, okay, yeah, camera zoom in transition on volume. Yeah,
because I think
or
actually,
on volume or just by script.
Yes, because we should do that first, so I can walk around it zoomed in and remember how that feels, and that will kind of determine the rest.
Yeah, it's it's something that might be in a similar vein to the PPVTs and just getting nice warm lighting in places and stuff.
And actually, of course, I'm stupid. I can just ask art how to change the camera zoom, or I'll remember and I can just try it and remember what it's like. But yeah, I think that feels like a nice thing to do here. Oh god, every time.
Yep.
Cool landing though, bro.
Nice.
Yeah. So we've got the other stuff, but I mean that's the main route, right? And we're coming up. We got another 10 minutes or so. It's probably reasonable if we wanted to. Have we got anything to say about the other bits yet, or is it still?
Sure. I mean, well, we can talk about what the route is if you want. There's stuff in there that's been done, so you might as well.
Let's try and. I
Oh,
myself with
yeah,
the
you're gonna have to teleport
okay.
yourself into that
baby.
little crevice.
It's a fun game of its own. Oh no! I went too
Chris.
far. Wah wah.
Well, it's fine.
Even while cheating,
at least you've moved the player character, so it's in a convenient place.
So we're here. Is this a good place?
You could just sure. Then you can go over, run past Ghoul. Why not? Because we can comment about his hair again. So I mean, we're gonna review. This is something that we need to do actually, is review how you move around either side of the lift, which I've already noted down. But once you've done that, it's not even the bottom of here where you need to be honest. But it's fine because you can climb up. So go do that. Because all this stuff still works. We just need to be a bit more controlled about. Yeah, so that wall run's in the way. So if you teleport yourself past that wall run,
yeah, because it's
wait, there's even more wall runs.
Well, that's okay. I could just turn them on, right?
You could. Yeah, why not?
I'll do that. I can't remember if you can do it live, so I'm not going to.
Just move her up to the top floor. So along there, up.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd get up there by doing loads of wall runs, which is good because that
because you can't do that until you can wall run. So this hasn't been changed. Probably, probably the same setup as it was before. I mean, it's more hide spot stuff, which we've covered now, but it all fits in here. But this is going to be gang guard stuff. There were gang guards in here. We just haven't had a need to repopulate it. So I guess that's a thing. Repopulate top of traitors full. So you solve that by going across the top, and that's when you get to what we assume is going to be. Well, you've already kind of cheat solved it, so it's fine.
For now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense until there's AI in there, really. And then you come across left to here, and you encounter the first sort of unlock
room. Look at it. Look, I want that thing.
Well,
how to get to thing?
Just jump them on up there, and you can have it immediately.
These. I want them, but I don't. I wonder if people will notice it's a thing. Anyway, that's having to noodle on for a while. Oh my god, got the thing.
And you can probably wall jump now. Wall run thing. Well, that was a resounding success.
Well, it might not have worked. Sometimes the thing doesn't work. I've noticed. Can I do it up here?
The front. Okay, you can. Fine. So that's just. Oh, I know why that is. It's because I'm using it's a temporary design tile map that's layered over the top. So
right.
That's my fault. Well, it's fault of the way everything works. So this is dirty functional learn wall run. This needs to be, so you have to wall run hang that first thing. Then you can drop down. You get into that awful room underneath. And then there's some weird little T-junction thing. So yeah, just go up and over that.
Oops.
So I may move this all left. Yeah, it's super awkward right now. This is just a space in which I was trying to work out how we teach wall run without doing anything crazy while also going down and ending up pretty much there. Probably means that actually all of this is going to come right and meet into that somehow. But this was the only other thing that.
Oh yeah, no, I see. Yeah, I think you'll get this to work.
So what this does is the first one you run into a hang because we need to teach that, and this one you run to the apex and then you jump.
That's nice.
So those are the two things you need to learn. If we want any repeats of that, you go to hell. There's not enough room. But if we do, then I suppose I can work it out. So.
Hey, I'll see when it's a bit classic, a bit further along. But I mean, that seems like it's going to work pretty much.
So
yes,
with those things, my job on there for now is get those two challenges into the correct amount of space, and then I'm going to give it to Art. So yeah, hopefully, well, maybe Art for next week. That is pretty hopeful, actually, considering what else is going on. But
anyway, cool. I think that's enough because that leaves us some stuff for the future.
Yeah, and we don't know what we're going to have to seriously think about how this bridge works. So and it's a really pretty bridge. So let's do that next week.
Games
bonus bridge.
Okay. I think we're pretty much good.
I'd say so. I've got a big list of stuff, Chris.
A big list. Show me. Tell me with a list of stuff. Is it good?
So we have the hide spot room, which is a lot of small tweaks to what we've already done, but lower mantle on the left, which is me not knowing my left from right because it's actually on the right. So I'm an idiot.
I remember the high spot room.
So yeah, in the that one. So wait, no, waterfall room, not that one.
Oh yes, this one.
That one, yeah. So we've got that right hand jump that was just a little bit too high, not consistent. Yeah. We want that to hang so you can just pop across the other platform. Changing how we get into the rafters because it just doesn't feel slick right now. Move that checkpoint because it's and fill in those vents because we don't need them. So you just go up the right side and encounter that room as you intended. Switches generally need to be hooked up. Make sure that they're all firing. So the second column room to your right needs a gang guard adding in there that gets set off from the right when you reach a certain point. So scripted patrol route. New map markers to go into the map. Non-placeholder map markers to go into the map. Review VAR Smash telegraphing, everything about VAR Smashing, how the particle effects work, the timing, animation, direction, everything. You need to talk to Ed Seeger about that. Going to review the lift and the general area of the lift. Also, the lift needs to be made to work so that both are triggered. Both the lifts trigger each other. Yeah, because the lift works, but they need to trigger each other so that we do that double barrel lift thing properly. Review pre mid nexus, which was the encounter with those sand monsters, like a sand monster boss room, and with the banging on the door stuff. That needs to happen.
Be fun. I forget. We'll pick it up later. I don't want to dilate it, but yes, we do need to review
that. Then there's underneath that where we should be getting fully arted tile maps sometime soon. Certainly they should be in for next week. And then we've got lift housing for the midden, general review from you of just the gameplay flow in the midden and how it feels and everything before it gets pushed over to Art. Mainly with how easy is this to move around? Is it fun to move around? Is it fun to move around with the zoomed in camera, which is the next thing? Etc. And do you encounter things in the right order? Is it right that when Hester's back there, she's in some difficult to reach platform at the top? Probably not. Is it right that Armand's squirreled away in the corner where you might not go? Probably not. So yeah, those kind of things that how we move around it is less of the concern. It's more design as an encounter space. Like, is the encounter space working for you? And positioning and stuff. So we'll do that next week.
Cool.
Camera zoom was the other thing. So that needs to happen in this room.
Yep.
And then we need to repopulate the top of Traitor's Fall with some gang guards so that plays over top left. Yep. So that the route to wall run unlock has stuff to do, has a nice stealth challenge before it. And they were in there before, and it has intent, and the flow is in the same direction. So that shouldn't be too big a job. Cool. And then that's it. Oh yeah, nice. I'm gonna need
that up, but that's fine.
Refine wall run tutorials.
Yep, get those in there. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah,
totally good.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back again, same time, 8 p.m. Is it GMT? I can't remember now. It's just about to change, isn't it? Anyway, 8 p.m. the same time, same place, Thursday, doing another review, and hopefully all this stuff's going to be done. What I'm talking about, it will be done, and it's going to be exciting. Okay, I think that's everything. Unless you've got anything else, Aidan?
Nope.
Okay, see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.